Oh, after a week's hiatus,
G2G.
we are back. God, I'm in a bad mood, but who cares?
Wow. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
But we got Harris Heller. Uh-oh. Guess what I didn't do? Darn it, because it's show 100. Oh, we got to change that. 100. We've hit the century mark for shows. Pretty exciting. No?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Totally.
We got so much for you guys this evening. We're excited. Hey, that's life.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey. Yes.
I'm going to say it. We're going to go in 5, 4,
10,
3,
20,
2,
1.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Not Your Average Show. Corey and Mike with you. Hey, what is it? March 10th, 2022, Thursday night. Hello, Corey. How are you?
It is. I am doing swell.
Well,
Yourself?
I'm doing, I'm annoyed. Just an annoying day. That's about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, these things happen sometimes.
It is just one of those days where you're like, stuff does work, stuff doesn't work. Then you're irritated. Then you're not irritated. Then whatever. But we got so much to discuss. What's going on? How's your day, week been so far?
It's been fine. Yeah. Keeping busy and yeah. Good. Yeah. Yourself?
A week. Like the weather. Okay, so first of all, a lot of people may or may not know this. We're like in some sort of weird summertime thunderstorm pattern all of a sudden in Florida, and we're in March.
That's true.
So every day at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we've been hammered with thunderstorms. So there's that, right? So that's going on. But there was 3 launches in the last 2 weeks. I think it was, right?
Yes.
So
yeah. Actually, I think they said they've had 10 launches in 10
Yeah.
weeks. I think they said SpaceX. I'm talking about SpaceX.
So it is. That's been pretty cool, right? So, but we have a lot to talk about. We missed last week's show, had stuff going on, and first, obviously, we have to address one thing: total support for Ukraine. This is, not to be tone deaf or anything like that. We know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world,
Right.
and obviously, one of the stories we were going to do last week, but we didn't get a chance to, is the Antonov getting bombed, and that's kind of a sucky thing for all of aviation.
Yeah. Yep.
But again, here on the show, we're concerned. Definitely don't want to be, flippant about what the world situation is. So hearts go out to people across the world that are garbage.
Yep.
Because it sucks. I think that has to be said, right?
Yep. No, that's
yeah.
fine, yeah.
So then the other part of it is that we just didn't have time to do a show last week. So hey, there's that. But we got a lot to talk about this week. We've got Sony and Honda teaming up to possibly make an EV, which is bizarre. Didn't see that one coming. We also got the Polestar O2, which actually, if you remember, that's Volvo's hand in EVs, which has been mildly successful so far. And Polestar is a part of their quote unquote residual naming of what was their little race faction, almost like their AMG kind of thing going on. So that's kind of cool. See this coming along. We've talked about it a little bit before. We also got NetJets buying into the eVTOL market with obviously one of the eVTOLs that we've spoken about many times here on the show, Lilium. And that's actually pretty exciting because they mentioned Florida by name in this one. And then we also got the Apple M1 Ultra, which I don't really know what else to say except for the fact that what else can Apple really do in the silicon market? We'll talk about it, but damn. That's pretty amazing, right? What they're pulling off here. One of the fastest chips ever put into a personal computer by a long shot. And then finally Axiom and their fully private space mission.
Yeah,
I guess
pretty cool.
Okay, let's just have a little overhead conversation really quick, right? Let's have to talk about the topics. 3 of those topics, right, are just mind-blowing topics. The 2 that my top 2 mind blowers are Axiom, right? Apple M1 Ultra, obviously. What's your third on that list of the top mind blowers in that list of topics?
I guess out of the list, so we said the Apple chip, and then Axiom's
Mhm.
already done. I think of the remaining ones, I'm not really surprised by Sony and Honda, and I guess I'll say that because Sony's been talking about having a car for how
Okay,
long now?
that's the
Like,
one that's actually got my
so I mean, I'd say it's maybe surprising that they've actually
yeah,
partnered with Honda because I think Honda's like, let's
of
do this.
course, of
They're like,
course.
okay, you want to do
All
it?
right.
Let's do this. Honda, I can make this.
So
Sony.
with
So
that, there's
yeah,
something to talk about, right? So we'll just bring it out into the forefront, and I'll kick it off. You happy with that? Because yeah,
have at
I
it.
mean,
Let's do it.
just let me get my setup here going, and then we'll go ahead and hit on it. All right. So we're all ready to go. All right, folks. So if you haven't or have been paying attention, this one comes direct to us from the folks over at Auto Week, and it's basically as it says: Sony and Honda to partner to build electric cars. Now, look, this is more than the news of back in the day when obviously Sony was in the market to get into gaming systems and tried to partner up with Nintendo, then dropped it like a hot rock. But this one comes straight to you in a different realm. It's 2025, and the news of the day, it's just weird because it's a shocker, right? Sony's wildly successful in the video game market and the handheld technology markets and your home theater markets like your televisions, has had no real success in trying to find their partner towards getting into the EV market, right? And obviously, you have Honda, who's had really great attempts to get into the hybrid market, but hasn't really cracked into the EV market just yet with that all knowing, slamming home powerful shot that you would expect from a major car manufacturer like Honda. And with
Mhm.
that, look, they've just announced the fact that this is going to be a joint venture. They haven't named it yet. And
Yep.
with that, Corey, what's your ideology here? Sony's got a brief history of collapsed ventures with big corporations going into such markets. What do you think's going on?
Well, I think on the face of it, Honda knows how to make cars. Obviously, they've been doing it for a long time, and they've got good reliability with the, let's call it the base car side of it. And as you pointed out already, Sony has been really heavy into tech for
Sure.
forever, right? So I think it's a pretty good setup on paper for sure. I am a little curious to see what they're actually going after. What market are they targeting? It's going to be an
Hmm.
EV, cool. So is it going to be, premium EVs, high tech stuff, or is it going to be a little more the modest, a little more affordable? I don't want to say cheaper, but less
Hmm.
expensive models that Honda can make, but also going to have some tech in there that Sony would be proud to have in there too. And it's obviously a joint venture, so that'll make it in there. I don't know what, because that kind of depends on where I would think they're going to try to target. Are they going to target Japan? Are they going to target the American markets? Are they going to go after Europe? Like, where? I mean, what do they really want to do with this joint venture?
I know, I didn't think about the
Um,
physical market if the market
so
would just be a Japanese only market. That didn't even cross my mind. That's a good one.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
look, Ferrari's even jumping back on now saying that they weren't going to go to a full EV car so soon. Now they're saying 2025, and basically even the folks at Ferrari saying is because electric is now premium, right? So there's
right.
this connotation that obviously that's the market visual representation that people have, like of a Tesla brand, which has gone premium with the first EVs that sold it, downstream, right? And it's a good thing.
Right.
Do they go premium? Do they stay in the
I don't know.
volume
Yeah.
marketplace? But here's the other thing. What the hell do they call it? There's some great comments below, and we'd like to hear from you guys. What would you think they would call it? Because in the
Yeah.
comments, can't take credit for this. Some people call it Sonda, others call it Honey,
Sonda,
right?
the Honey.
Honey,
It's gonna be the
the
Honey,
Honey, whatever.
whatever. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
look,
I mean,
but here's the other part, right? Even a company like Tesla has to be a little weary because if you want to talk about computing and what the neural net of what Tesla's putting together and how they've infused that into their cars and their technology, here's a massive technology company getting into the ground roots level of what's obviously a well-known car manufacturer. That too is kind of like
right.
the secret sauce against Tesla, almost.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I would agree. It's they're both proven companies. They are doing something that well, at least one of them hasn't done before. So, but I think it's still something to keep an eye out for. But again, I think the main part there to also be wondering about is again, what market are they going to try to target? And will they start maybe somewhere, like I said, over in Asia somewhere, and then move around? I don't know. Yeah. So,
Okay, let's just throw this out as a premise. Sony spends 3 years getting it together with Honda. and then bails again, like they've done in previous marketplaces. And then they basically come out with their quote unquote PlayStation of the EV market, right? Because that's basically what they did to Nintendo. This has been a market strategy of Sony before. They've done that type of thing. Does Sony have the ability to find a marketplace niche like they have in previous marketplaces, like automobiles, comparative to automobiles, to land a product as successful as, say, a PlayStation on wheels?
I think where you're going with that would be difficult for Sony, and I know Sony's huge, obviously I get it, but we're talking about a company trying to, let's say, if you're in your case, if they partner up with Honda and then do some development and then drop it like it's hot and make their own car, actual car, and bring a car to market. Again, we've seen this before. Companies that have good ideas and good capital and things behind them. Now you're making a company that has no infrastructure to build cars.
Yeah, that's true.
Entering the car market. Oh, and by the way, they're electric, so they have to enter the electric car market with all the problems that electric EVs have with sourcing and all that thing. I don't know if that would be the smartest thing to do for Sony.
That's true.
To have Honda do, I don't want to say the heavy lifting, but some of the infrastructure is already there that Honda's tooled, to build cars, and then just do the joint venture, see how it goes, and then maybe work from there. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't know if that would be the best thing for Honda.
Yeah, I mean,
Sony.
it's interesting because you could look at other manufacturers that have gone into this just with a heap of cash and tried to develop their own cars. Lucid just recalled 200 of their cars. They're new in the marketplace.
Right.
They know the growing pains of trying to take electric vehicles into a competitive space against a company like Tesla. Look, even
got Rivian there too. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of different ones. Rivian's in there too, and they're doing good. Don't get me wrong, Rivian's doing good.
Look at the competition. Look at what it took for someone like Mercedes to get into that market space, right? With their EQS, and even that one isn't. Although it's well received, well reviewed, they're still finding it hard to get their feet into that marketplace. So look, it's interesting to me, and we'll wrap this one up really quick. If you have any other comments, and please let us know what you guys think in the comments below. But it's interesting to see how many people want to get into this marketplace, because it's apparent now that EVs are going to be, quote unquote, the it thing. However, right, you still have to be successful when you land the car. Just because it's electric now doesn't necessarily mean it's going to land and everybody's going to just throw money at you and you're going to make a ton of cash, right?
Right. Yeah, just because it's an EV,
there's going to be your niche of what you have to try to put into that car and make it competitive and successful is going to be part of this process going forward, right? And I assume that there's going to be other failures by major marketing muscle in the car industry that are going to bring their EVs, thinking, well, we make great cars, but we can't make great EVs. So let's see what happens. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think, and see if Honda and Sony can pull it together long enough to make something thick in the EV marketplace. And let us know what you think the name of that company might be when they finally bring it to market.
Yes, we'd love to hear your just theory crafting. Just put a bunch of names.
That'd be
in there
great.
And we can see who's correct,
right?
or
right?
not.
And then maybe if we see a funny one on there, we don't get a ton of comments yet, but when we do one day, maybe your comment will be famous in the annals of YouTube. All right, we're done with that one. My new favorite thing to do is to throw my notes over my head.
Excellent. That's your thing. That's your shtick.
No, everybody's been doing that for years. I just borrow a lot. Yeah, I just throw stuff around my room because you know what? In a dumb sense, guess who's got to pick this crap up later?
Well, of course. Yeah.
So there you go. All right, moving along. Corey's going to talk to us now. Are we? You're gonna roll the intro first? How you doing this? Let me know how you're doing it.
Yeah. I'll just start talking about a little bit, and then you can just start playing.
Okay, here you go. So fresh, hot off the presses is Corey.
Yep. So this next one comes to us from The Verge. I also have a few links down there for it, but it's Polestar. So it's a Swedish car manufacturer. They've got their next concept out, and it's pretty interesting. So while that video is rolling, just let me. I'll talk just a little bit more, and then let you watch it. But it's the Polestar O2. And it's a 2-seat roadster electric, and it looks pretty cool. So yeah, have a look, and it's got a drone integrated on it. Just have a look.
So here we go. Let me
chat about it.
Let me roll the footage here, and then we shall go from there. There you go. We're back.
Okay, so you saw the video there. There's obviously more stuff on the website. I got the links down below, but you can see it's a pretty sleek looking two-door car. And I gotta say, it looks pretty nice. It's got some of the design cues from their Precept, their other vehicle. We don't have a lot of specifics on it. It's still concept, but we know, if you guys have been in the car space for long enough, you know there's lots of cool concepts that come out that you kind of look at them and you're like, okay, that's cool, but it's never going to make it to market. Like, I'm never going to see that car. I could see this actually being made this way. I don't know about the drone. Fine, fair, but the car itself, it looks pretty nice, and I could see that being driven on the road. Actually making it.
Sure.
So a few of the things we do know about it, it's there was a quote by the CEO saying they should be able to get at least 110 kilowatt hour battery pack in there, which is pretty decent size. And they are planning on using an all anodized aluminum bonded frame. So it's an all aluminum frame, so it's going to be pretty stiff, pretty light. It should be pretty responsive for a car of this size, with, again, really low CG with the battery pack down there. And of course, yeah, you guys saw in the video, there's the drone that takes your video. It's supposed to be all automated. It's I don't know. I won't say much more about that. I'm not sure about that part. But and then the last thing, and I'll pass it over to you. Said one more thing. They asked the CEO, do they think this actually would make it to production? And he just said basically that he indicated he would love to confirm that in the future. But so at least the way he said it, it sounds like it's a decent chance. So I mean, Mike, what do you think? I mean, cost, I think it's going to be at least probably triple digits or six digits. Sorry. Like the Precept is, but yeah, what do you think, man? I mean, overall,
I think first off, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The thing that it brings to mind is almost like a cross between an MR2 and a Z car, right? It's got that kind of same line to it in one respect, but I think overall the dynamic is, how do you sell yourself into an electric future? And you have to have the halo, and this is the halo, the brand for Polestar. That makes perfect sense. It obviously has got the drool factor, right? You somehow want to engage with your car. And one of the videos that I watched when they were talking about this is that whole drone process is about the engagement of the driving experience, and basically giving you, the user, a different way to enjoy your driving experience. And it really actually kicked in my head, and I was like, it is cool. I've had how many drones, and I've always wanted to have one follow me in my car, but the articulation of doing that as an event and actually composing it without having a commercial film crew around, and the logistics and the space to do it, is one thing.
And doing it legally.
Yeah, and do it legally, number one. And number two, okay, the neural net, if there's a decent amount of computing power on board the car itself, may in some way, shape, aid the drone in being able to do that following ability.
It could be, yeah.
But I was tickled by the opportunity to say that would be a neat feature. Now, is that enough to wrap a two-door car around a quote-unquote possible performance model of an EV and make me spend over $100,000? Not in your life.
No, definitely not. I'm right there with you.
It's hot.
The car itself, and we'll find out the features later. But yeah, I could see it definitely being attractive. But if the drone thing adds any significant amount of money, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah,
No.
no, why? No."
It's an EV.
I mean, where you can use this, no.
It's nice, right? It's pretty. Now look, now you're an EV guy, right? I have trouble breaking from traditional ICE engines, and that's my next purchase is going to be an ICE engine car. However, I do now, looking at gas prices, I do kind of go, what if this thing came in at, say, $74,000 fully loaded? Then what do you do?
I think if I was in the market for a two-door at the time, depending on how it charges, like what it can interface with, which is always something to think about when you buy an EV, minus those concerns, yeah, I definitely want to look at it. It's, if I'm leaving the market for a two-door and charging's not an issue, hey, this is pretty cool. Depending on support and seeing how they like the Polestar EV or the Polestar SUV, some of their cars that are already out, how those work with maintenance, standard stuff with buying a car. You guys know the drill, but that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would consider it. Sure.
Now, Polestar has also put one other feature into this vehicle that is more of a quote unquote selling feature on the recyclability. They call it circularity. And they've actually composed the entire car and actually the interior and other parts of the vehicle that they can with all reusable parts. And that means that the aluminum skin and the frame are made of particularly marked and quality aluminums that have different melting points that can all be solidified back down to their initial structure, right, to be reused again. And the interior is also made in a complete quote unquote circularity method in which everything in the interior is recyclable. Now,
yeah, that's pretty interesting.
That is an interesting concept to have it in this type of vehicle, because obviously in today's marketplace, you want something that sets you aside. Do you think that just that having EVs already be on the lookout for being environmentally friendly, do you think that circularity really adds more to the I'd say the mystique of owning a Polestar and give it that little leg up in the marketplace?
I guess that would depend if you owned a Polestar and then suddenly decided you didn't want it anymore. I mean, I can't imagine selling it for not scrap, but in this case, selling it to recycle the materials would get you more money than selling the car itself.
Right.
I mean, you bring up another point, about sustainability. In this case, with them, they're quite interested in that by design. But you'll remember that there's already I can't remember the company, but the big battery cycle, Redstone.
Yeah,
is
I
that
believe
it?
it's Redstone.
I think
Yep,
called
yep, yep.
Redstone actually. That's already up and running, and so this is something that there's multiple many companies already trying to consider in there. So it might just be slotting in, might just kind of slide itself into the way that all the manufacturers are going. I mean, Polestar is already quite interested in sustainability anyway as a company, but I don't know about adding value. I mean, adding what
In
value?
branding,
Monetary value?
branding.
Oh,
Branding
just
value.
branding
Yeah.
value? Well, if your clientele is quite interested in such things, like if your clientele is interested in exactly this kind of thing, then certainly, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about clientele that have those disposable income that are also interested in being sustainable and going off the grid and blah blah blah, then yeah, of course.
It's interesting that they should contribute that, because look, it's just funny. One of the guys that got so upset on YouTube recently blew up his Tesla because it was so expensive to replace the battery. I don't know if you saw it on YouTube. The guy that blew up his white Tesla, right?
I actually saw it and did not click because I'm like, what?
Well,
why? I'm not going to click on that.
Because it was click worthy only because of the title and watching a car explode, right?
But that's why I didn't click it. I was like, you blew up your Tesla, why? And I'm not even clicking that crap. I'm not giving you my clicks.
I understand that, but the funniest part is if you blew this car up, each little piece would be worth something, still of value. So you could probably go pick them up and, I don't know, melt them back into the Terminator. Anyhow. All right, I'm done. I got nothing else to add.
It's cool. Yeah. So anyway, let us know in your comments what you think of this car. If you guys have any experience with Polestar, we'd be interested to hear that too. And yeah, what do you think about maybe what the price would be, and would you even consider such a car if you're in the market for such a thing? So, but thanks for the support. Thanks for the like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.
There you go. Okay. After that, Corey is gonna actually talk to us even more Uh,
Even more.
even more. Before we go into that subject, this one's actually pretty quick, so
Yeah,
it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah.
And go ahead, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, so this next one comes, I found it on AIN online. It's a pretty good place for aviation news. And basically, it's talking about NetJets. And basically, it's to say that there's a memorandum that came out between NetJets and Lilium. And if you guys aren't familiar, NetJets, fractional ownership operator that basically operates multiple aircraft, they are looking to add 150 Lilium aircraft to the eVTOL fleet. To be operated by NetJets, and they even said in the memorandum that that NetJets would probably be operating them in the Florida area. And so, if you guys haven't watched our channel before, we've covered Lilium in the past, and we already have told you guys that there is a Lilium vertiport going in the Lake Nona area in Central Florida. That's specifically mentioned in this article too, to say that they're going to be looking to kind of. And in Lilium, their business model looking to link like Tampa together with Miami, with Orlando, those kind of hops. And NetJets looking to operate possibly those hops, but they're under their existing 135 certificate. So interesting. I mean, this is like another big provider in the already established, let's call it established aviation space, saying, "Hey, yeah, eVTOLs are going to be a real thing. We're taking it seriously. Boom, let's put our money there." So, what do you think, Mike?
I am a helicopter transport industry operator. I'm afraid for the first time that I go, look, if NetJets doesn't take advantage of the things that are already in the marketplace, aka helicopters that can carry 6 passengers in this model space, and they can't use their 135 operator certificate in order to make that a successful venture with what they've already got in place as far as customer base, they know that there's a dollar value per seat per mile that these things are going to be able to produce whatever it is that they see in their eyes as a value. Now, doesn't say that it can't fail miserably. Okay? Not saying that. What I'm saying is they at least see the glimmer, they see the hope, and to turn around and to make a profound statement as to a number of 150 to purchase. That tells me that they are looking at the economies of scale, and they're thinking that that's their break-even point, to have that many units on hand to make this worthwhile for them. That's a massive statement. Now, I'm going to throw one other caveat in, which is just like everything else that's been in the eVTOL space, a lot of hot air until it actually makes a nickel. But if I'm a helicopter operator, I'm concerned.
Yeah, and we know we've already covered on the channel too. We have personally tried to go find. Well, we know the vertiport is in Lake Nona, but we also know they're having issues with FAA airspace. Particularly, it has to do with Orlando MCO, Orlando International, which is just north of where this vertiport is supposed to go in Lake Nona. So it's just the tip of the iceberg to say we've covered before. There's many hurdles to the eVTOLs. And vertiport's actually like becoming a thing. One of them is just getting the permissions and all that, and so we'll have to see. But as you said, yeah, the NetJet thing is substantial. It's
huge. I mean, look, now the other thing is, if you look at this picture, though, I spy with my little eye 4 seats in the back and 1 seat in the front that looks like a pilot seat. Right?
We know. I mean, we've talked about it before. There can't be. I can't see them passing certification, at least in the U.S. initially, with no pilot on board. So I'm not surprised by this graphic at all, really. But maybe I'm slightly surprised that there's only 4 seats in the back.
Well, I'm not.
They're coming out with a bigger. I forget now; it just escapes me. But I know they're making a bigger Lilium vehicle. I think it's 6 seats, but anyway, I mean, it says even in the graphic here, it's Lilium 6-seat model. So am I just dense?
No, I don't know. I think that's the adaptation of reality of what it's going to look like, right? I think that's what they know it's going to have to be. But the other part of it is, I'll make this statement. They put a parachute on it as a fail-safe device, so something go wrong with the entire device, and you know that you have the parachute on board. Guess what? I put my app in at NetJets, and I go to try to fly these eVTOLs. End of story.
we've said before, and we've had people on our channel in the comments say, "Hey, you guys are both, pilots, existing helicopter airplane pilots. Why don't you guys just go fly eVTOLs?" We've said before, we're not against it. If anybody's in the comments, hey,
if they're doing routes in Florida, like small routes in Florida, 100 miles each way, you're doing 6 legs a day. But in a device like this, it's a cruise, man. This is like this is a no-brainer. This is just like half airplane, half helicopter, the best of both worlds. I am flying this thing all day long. End of story.
Yep. Well, along with our instrument IFR questions, but yeah, that's a whole nother
No, but here's the thing. In this particular case, if it's going to be Florida based, how often am I going to see icing in Florida? Maybe 4 days a year. Okay, that I might see icing at or about 5,000 feet, maybe in or out of moisture, right? If they get these duct into cell engines figured out where they can't ice, I'm pretty fair. Like, or they just say don't fly in moisture. Okay, well,
Yeah.
you get the kinks worked out. I'm there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
this shows
But anyway,
this shows
cool.
promise that it might actually happen.
Yeah. Of
Right?
course. Got anything else here for that one?
No, I'm done.
All right, cool. Yeah, guys, in the comments, please let us know what you think about Lilium in general, and if you're, as we said before with Lilium and any of these eVTOLs. I mean, this is with NetJets. It's it's a substantial announcement. Would you guys be interested in getting on board one of these, and what's your thoughts on that whole thing? So let us know in the comments below. Very much appreciated for the like, share, subscribes, and yeah, there you go.
Okay. From what could be a massive in the world of EVTOLs onto something even maybe a little bit cooler. I don't know. It depends on what you're at. Here we go. Apple shocked the world 2 years ago when they decided that their M1 chip was going to rock the basic platform of computing technology and go one step beyond, where Intel and others haven't been able to produce a one does everything system. What do they call this thing? A system on a chip. Well, guess what? They've gone one further, and now their M1 has an M1 Ultra. And this one comes straight to you from Apple from their event and their press release coming from you March 8th. Best part about it is Apple has announced that they're basically taking 2 M1 Max chips and they're putting them on one die for a system on a chip with up to 128 gigabytes of super ultra fast RAM, either a 20-core CPU, a 64-core CPU, or a 32-core neural engine, capable of producing 2.5 terabytes a second of bandwidth, which is insane, right? On top of that, it's 4 times faster than anything else, okay? And it has the opportunity to do everything that you and I would probably sweat over, except it's in the body and the frame of a Mac, okay? They're saying that right now it's 5.6 times faster with the 28-core Pro Mac with Afterburner, okay? It's going to be a rendering powerhouse. This is built for basically your ultra operators of 3D graphics and studio 4K editing and things that nature, sending it right off the charts. What are you thinking? This is now the fastest CPU available to man in a home computer.
I mean, what's better than one M1 Ultra?
Oh, really? That's all you
2
got?
M1 Ultras. Put them together. No, of course. I mean, so first off, I guess I'll say that I'm the Intel guy in this friendship. Not that I'm not open to using Apples, and I mean I've used Apples before, and I work one's an Apple, and when I do video editing or image editing with people I know, that it's all on Macs too, and that stuff works great. So I'm interested to see when it's going to be available, and then of course how much it costs. But to see what other things you can do with it. I mean, I don't mean to say you can't do things with it. I guess what I mean is like things that we run when we're running like Photoshop, and we have files that have so many layers, and it's like 4 gig file. I understand you're gonna be, that has to do with a bit of memory and things, but just to see, how much faster is it noticeably? We know it's faster. I get it, yes, but I mean, in practice, how much faster is it gonna really show? And I know it's going to, obviously, but I'm just interested. It's always like, get your hands on it and try it out. So,
well, no, it's actually more like, as always, the funniest part is, if you look, it's always the funny part that Apple does. They do a great release, right? And then the graphs basically show you no real benchmarkable return, right? It's like, and it's the funniest thing, right? it's as usual. It's the great hype machine of Apple, right? So we're going to claim that it's the
Mhm.
most powerful processor man has ever seen, yet we're going to produce no tangible results that would actually be used on, say, any tech channel on YouTube to prove or verify. Although I guarantee when Linus gets his hands on this, he's going to be equally as impressed as he was when he got his hands on the M1. But why don't they just
Mhm.
let this chip go at it and make it do its own marketing research and its own presentation, because it's going to do a better job than Apple could any day of the week. I don't get it. They keep they
I don't
have
know.
the fastest Apple, you have the fastest chips. Please, one day, release them with measurable results. That's it.
Measurable
Yeah,
metrics, like something we can actually do.
because
I don't
now I
know.
gotta wait, right? Now I gotta wait until I watch it on somebody's channel and they go, "My lord, they really did pull it off."
Have you heard when it's supposed to come
I think
out?
it's within the next 2 weeks. It's usually within the next 2 weeks. I didn't really pay attention to that. I just salivated all over the article and said, "Well, that's pretty cool." Um,
Yeah, I've been
but usually it's
trying
within
to see,
two
but
weeks of the day that they announce it. You're usually able to pick this stuff up. So I think the first one that's coming out is the Mac Studio, which is going to be featuring this one. So look, does it make a difference?
yeah,
You're
yes, yep.
really they have and the funniest part is the bottom, they have all the caveats about what they compared them to, but because the graphing system they have in the relationship above is useless, it's kind of funny. Although I will say this, I still love my i9 MacBook Pro. I love my M1 iPad Pro. Um, am I in the dollar range to go out and purchase one of these new M1 Ultra chips? No, they're very costly. They're not. It's not going to be cheap either. We're talking like I think the base is like
Uh,
$3,600, right?
Actually, I'm looking at it right now. And Mac Studio does have it in there. I'm trying to go
Mm-hmm.
through all the things and see where
Mm-hmm.
actually it'll tell me. 20 core Mac Ultra,
Oh, it's available.
48
Yeah,
core GPU, 32 core neural net, blah blah
4,000.
4,000.
So with the big core, so the small one's 2,000, and that's available on 318. So it's about another week.
Yes, but
Yeah,
that's a Max, not
right.
the
That's the
Ultra.
Mac Studio with the so it doesn't have the full. Gotcha. So it starts at 2 grand, so 4 grand.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's 4 grand for the
Yeah,
one we just talked about.
that's
That's, I mean, a lot, but I mean, not
no.
crazy if it's got that much
So if it's
horsepower.
got that much horsepower, right? Well, I wonder what it would cost you to build an equally powerful Intel unit with probably dual processors, equivalent RAM, and just trying to get that up to the same speed. I wonder what it would cost you, because it's got it. I'm going to say it's going to be more money, even if you try to go.
I would think so. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I mean, a few things come to mind, different chipsets, but I mean, I'd have to go find, look.
All right, folks, let us know what you think if Apple done, if
Done.
Apple broke the bank, or if it's just going to be, just another glorified introduction of a product that we all go, great, slap on the back, but is it really applicable to anyone in the real world that can actually use that kind of computing horsepower? Because it's great to have it, but is it going to change computing as we know it? Likely not, because the M1's been around now for about 2 years, and it's still, well, breaking, speed records. It ain't cured cancer, right? Let us know in the comments below what you think.
Mhm.
All right. I'm done with that one. You got the last one, so take us home, sir.
Excellent. Here we go. You ready? Here
Yep.
we go. Yep. So this last one, just straight comes to us from their own website. I have another link down there from space.com, but it's just to bring you guys up to speed with a company called Axiom, if you haven't heard of them before. But it's really the Axiom Ax-1 or Axiom 1 mission. The long and the short of it, guys, it's going to be the first fully private flight to the ISS, like in history. It's the first all private flight to the ISS. So they are partnered with SpaceX. So they're going to be launching off of a Falcon 9, taking a Dragon capsule up to the ISS. It's set to go up the 30th of March, so this month in 20 days or so. And then they're going to be there about a week and a half or so. That maybe for you guys to know too, it's not just purely like, okay, it's all private. Okay, they're tourists. They're not actually tourists, and we're in the sense that I know Mike would say, "Oh, are they astronauts?" Well, no, they're not that either. Of course, they're going to the ISS.
No.
But they also are prepared to do up to 25 experiments, doing everything from education and science to human health, and looking at a whole bunch of different things. So they actually got a full load of experiments to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a straight full private to ISS experiments. It's a full private mission to ISS. It's super cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Axiom does a bunch of other things. If you guys don't know, they're one of the companies that's set to do their own private space station. If that all works out, if their plan works out, they'll have up to 4 modules up there by the end of 2027, and it'll be fully independent in a private space station. So that's pretty cool too. I mean, what do you think, Mike? I mean, this is kind of there's going to be more of this, more private stuff going on, not just ISS, but just private space.
Yeah, well, I mean, it couldn't come at a better time with Russia threatening to basically dismantle the entire collaboration that's happening in the International Space Station community anyhow. And that's unfortunate. And, the other part of it is turning around and saying that, we're launching broomsticks, off the surface of the
Oh
planet.
yeah.
That's a great,
Yeah.
great comment. And then, obviously the shot across the bow from SpaceX is we'll ride our broomsticks into space. Look, it's outside of the new Cold War, which is what we're looking at, if not another excessively bad war for the planet. This is what I would expect humanity to do as it continues to progress in its ability to learn, seek knowledge, and obviously use the best of science to bring forth what it can. And it's the natural evolution of where governments once tread into the space, literally into space, using the funding of what would be, cultured dollars collected from the masses.
Yeah, billions.
Eventually, private service becomes part of that essence, right? And in the spirit of what we can produce as a species in something like this, pretty freaking amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can't turn around and tell me that you might not get some sort of massive breakthrough, because it's nice to know we've had so many missions to space, but one that's got a heart and a soul of it that's a little different, and it proves that this can be done, and that when possible, great things can be achieved by, let's face it, Elon Musk is pretty damn good at what he does, and SpaceX is breaking traditional norms and the ability for them to produce something like this, but for Axiom to be able to grow on the backs of a privateering space company, fantastic. Can't say more.
Yep. Yeah, super exciting to be alive at a time when space is not, pun intended, taking off again. But they're doing some really interesting things. And again, as you said, not just big companies or not big governments doing this stuff. The last thing, and then I'll kind of be done with it though. But we just talked about how much the SLS is supposed to cost if it was to launch. And we're talking like 2 to 4 billion. I mean, with everything, but 2 billion about for the launch itself. It's just crazy. And the thought that, and I know not done yet, but things like Elon could say that Starship could eventually in the future launch for as low as 1 million to launch is just crazy. I mean, super exciting, of course, and not, totally not done and achieved yet. But again, the big one of the biggest hurdles to space, right? Not just tech and making it work, but the cost. Somebody's got to pay for it. And hey, if it doesn't cost as much, if that's not the prohibiting factor, cost, then not only can more companies do it, more people can do it. Like more you and me's can do it, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and
so
look, thrilling for all involved, right? For me, again, I think of SpaceX, I think of what they're doing, and then I've always wanted to be an astronaut. I don't want to spend a lifetime in space, but I'd love to go up on a mission for a week and do some experiments.
Yep.
That would be amazing. And the fact that maybe one day, 10 years from now, I could apply to be part of a space program that literally I go up and I spend 7 days in space and go, wow, there's that opportunity. It still exists. And, whether I just go up there to be, a baby shuttle commander between 2 space stations for a week and they go, hey, you got your shot, right?
I know. How cool would that be? Your part-time job for the next, 2 weeks is to be first officer on a shuttle ferry mission between space stations. Awesome. Sign me up.
Because let's face it, I'm a little too old to go back into the system and get injected into the NASA space program. So this would be my last shot, but I would take it if the opportunity presented itself. How's that?
Well, while you just mentioned that, you reminded me that NASA itself has been talking that they have to change how they get astronauts because they're going to run out of the pool. So that's also changing, by the way. So how NASA itself selects astronauts is not going to be the same soon.
Maybe day, we'll see.
Well, there you go.
All right, folks.
So please, guys, like, share, subscribe. Put your comments down below about obviously Axiom Space, and we're gonna wish them the best of luck. And it's only in 20 days, pretty soon. So let us know what you think. Obviously, if you want to be an astronaut, let us know. Many people do. Super cool. But yeah, let us know. And thanks for all the
Thank
support.
you, everybody. Hey, the channel keeps growing. We can't be happier than with what we're seeing with the results. I know we haven't put out as many small episodes lately, and I'm holding them in reserves for a specific reason, but they'll start rolling out again here now I got a little bit more time. But thanks everybody for contributing. We appreciate all the success that we've actually reaped here on the channel. We couldn't be more excited, and look forward to sharing stuff with you next week.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
next week. Bye bye.
Take it easy.
Later.
Bye bye.
Boom, boom. See you, everybody. Take care. Have a great one. Later.